Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar on the use of AI in marketing. Please note today's webinar will be recorded. Today's webinar is hosted by Leola Small. Leola has extensive marketing experience across a wide range of industries and is currently the founder and managing director of Small Mktg. A thought leader in the AI marketing space, Leola is redefining the industry by leveraging artificial intelligence to drive efficiencies and boost growth. So welcome, Leola. I'll pass straight across to you because I know everybody's really excited to jump straight into this webinar.
Thanks, Sam. Hi, guys. Just waiting on people to come through, and I'll explain a little bit about what we're going to go through today. So the purpose of today is, how to introduce marketing into your AI strategy. And we're going to go through a number of different things. Now, I've got the agenda up on screen today. Hopefully you can see that. So I'll spend a little bit of time on this slide. We're going to go through what ChatGPT is and isn't. The fundamental, or one of the main questions that I get often is, what is the difference between ChatGPT and Bard? We'll talk about ChatGPT for Google search and SEO, as well as summarising and researching with Bard. Now, for this particular section, I would love for you to have Bard. So if you can actually head to bard.google.com, and I believe it's in the chat section now as well. So if you just head to there and download, or sorry, go to the website Bard and open a chat window with your Google account, that'd be really great. Now, during that section, researching and summarising, we will go through a live hands-on activity where I will get you guys to do something very exciting and fun. It won't take long, but it'd be really good if you had it. If you don't have access to Bard, or you can get it later on after the session, that's fine. We will send out the slides as well, so you'll have all of the instructions ready to go, and you'll be able to do it in your own time. And then we'll finish off with writing the perfect prompt for blogs. So we talk about, how best to get, how to get the best out of AI tools for blogs as well. So then we'll finish with Q&A. So feel free to drop your Q&A into the Q&A section of the Zoom. I will be having a look at that during the session. If there is Q&A, or if there are questions that are relevant to the topic that I'm on at the time, I'll try and answer it then and there. But if not, I will wait to the very end to go through them. So without further ado, let's have a look if we've got a lot of people on. Yep, so we're getting a few more people on. So let's just go and jump straight into it. Okay, there's a lot of text on this slide, I know that. What ChatGPT is and isn't. On the left-hand side, we have what ChatGPT is. So fundamentally, it is an artificial intelligence model developed by OpenAI. That's the company name. And it's designed to generate human-like text-based outputs on the input that it receives. Now, the GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which is just a fancy name for saying that basically it collects lots of information and spits it out. So the model is pre-trained, which means that it has large amounts of digital text, and it has seen a lot of examples of how words and sentences fit together, and it decides on the best way to form that information and give you an output. So the last point there is that it's not human. It doesn't have the ability to feel or think the way that humans do. It doesn't have that context. So if I can just step back for a minute and explain a little bit more in layman's terms what that means. So if you think about ChatGPT, so we think about it as a thing, or not a human, but a robot of sorts. It's not actually a robot. It's not actually human. It's not thinking for itself in any way. So don't get bombarded with the hype. ChatGPT is basically a machine learning software. So the way I think about it is that there's loads of information on the internet, right? So if you think about the internet as like a file cabinet, say it's a file cabinet, right? You've got loads of different files, loads of theses, essays from academics. You have Wikipedia, you've got Google search terms. So everything that, when you Google search, everything that's in Google, for example, it's in ChatGPT's filing cabinet, right? And so in terms of you, the person that's asking ChatGPT something, it's saying, okay, go into the filing cabinet and find me the best result for this, whether it's a question, whether it's a, hey, I need to understand what best to take with me when I go on a camping trip, right? It can be anything. So this filing cabinet, it's going to be bloody big filing cabinet, by the way. This filing cabinet has all of that information. And when you submit a question or a question of sorts, it then goes into this filing cabinet and searches the whole thing very fast, looking for bits and pieces that are aligned with your question. I hope that makes sense. It's a very convoluted way of explaining it, very simple way of explaining it, but I do hope it makes sense in a little bit more simple way. So if we go to the right-hand side, what ChatGPT isn't. Now, this first point is very important. ChatGPT is not perfectly accurate. So while ChatGPT can provide information that is often correct, it's not error-free and it doesn't know everything. Please check everything, including data, including facts. Do not trust it blindly. That is something that I cannot emphasize enough. Secondly, it's not a decision maker. This is what I talk about. It's not human, right? So it doesn't make decisions. It doesn't generate responses based on feelings. It doesn't have personal views. So it's not a human. It is a machine and it is just collating information. And then the last point there, it's not completely unbiased. And what this means, you may have heard this a few times in various articles and things like that. ChatGPT's information, remember, is from, let's just say, a big filing cabinet, right? Now, the information in this filing cabinet is produced by various academics, by various people, and it's very much biased towards what the information is put in there. So it doesn't have every single piece of information. Does that make sense? I really hope it does. And I hope I haven't confused you even further. But again, it's not completely unbiased. And while the aim is to be neutral, the data that it comes from or the data that it's trained on is, it has a lot of human biases. So just be careful when you're looking at that. All right, let's keep going. So ChatGPT versus Bard. This table was actually created by Bard. So I went in and I asked Bard, I said, give me a table that is unbiased. I said, give me the unbiased version of the comparison between ChatGPT and Bard. And it came up with a lot of different things. It came up with, different types of models and all this technical jargon that I didn't want to bore you on. But I've taken these couple of key points from Bard, which helped to summarize what it is. And I hope this helps. So training data, ChatGPT is only trained up to about 2021 at this point, and Bard has information from the internet, which is almost real time. Sorry, not real time, but it's up to date. Let's say it's up to date. So what that means is that ChatGPT's information, so when you ask ChatGPT a question, the file cabinet or the information that it's looking at is only up to 2021. Now, for us marketers, that's an issue because marketing changes so fast, and the information that we need almost in real time. So for example, if you're looking for statistics or trends in the market, you'd want to look for something that's less than 12 months old. And that means that ChatGPT is not what you would use. You'd go to Bard, and I'll explain that in a second. So real-time internet access, we just talked about that. No for ChatGPT, yes for Bard. Strength, generating creative text formats, paraphrasing and summarizing. ChatGPT, especially the paid version, which is ChatGPT 4, is far more superior than Bard. So the strengths for Bard, then we've got answering questions with up-to-date information. So that's more about, does it have real-time access to the internet? Weaknesses, ChatGPT, because it only has information up to 2021, may struggle with factual accuracy, and Bard may not be as creative as ChatGPT. So I have ChatGPT 4, the paid version, which I think is about $20 US a month. If you can afford to get the subscription, I absolutely recommend it. It is far and away superior to Bard. Now, having said that, Bard, yes, has real-time access to the internet and ChatGPT doesn't. I have written here, how would I craft a blog? So if I was to use these tools, people ask, which tool do you use to create the best blog? I actually use both. And the reason for that is, one, I would write the first draft in Bard, and whether that's me actually writing the blog out or writing dot points about the blog and getting Bard to write the blog out, I would do it in Bard first. Now, the reason I would do that is because you can actually use Bard to then use your blog outline and say, hey, go into the internet or search various sources and let me know if there's any trends or statistics that I can include as supporting literature into this blog. So that's what I would do. Write the first draft in Bard, and then ensure I include any latest statistics or trends as needed. Once Bard then spits out that first draft blog, I would then literally copy and paste that into ChatGPT and get it to improve the writing. So when I say, you can actually just paste it into ChatGPT and say, improve the writing, or, which I'll go through again later with in terms of writing the perfect prompt for blogs, you can go into ChatGPT and say, improve the writing for this blog. Make the tone friendly but direct. I want the reader to do this. I want the reader to feel this when they read this blog. All of those kinds of points that help ChatGPT understand what you want the reader to do, or in terms of taking the next action when they read that blog, especially if it's a lead generation piece or it's a thought leadership piece where you want the reader to do something or contact you or something like that. So that's what I would do. I would use both tools. All right, so let's jump into the sort of the area that we're all here for, AI for Google search and SEO. Now, AI for Google search and SEO, there are so many things that ChatGPT, Bard, loads of AI tools can do. And there are so many plugins that are available now. It actually can get quite a little bit overwhelming and confusing. So I've just broken it down into two very small, simple areas that you can start with if you haven't started using AI yet. And that's keyword support and ideation and interpreting performance data. Now we'll go through these in a second. So keyword support and ideation. So I'll show you how you can do some keyword research and content ideas, as well as content ideation and creation. So I'll show you how to do that. And then secondly, interpret performance data. So help you understand metrics, as well as provide some insights and recommendations based on those metrics. So, you know, as marketers, one thing that we now have to do more and more of is get into the data. And sometimes, you know, we are natively marketers and not natively data analysts. And so ChatGPT and Bard can really help in that space. So let's jump in. All right, so keyword support and ideation. Sorry that it's a little bit blurry. So I've just copied and pasted literally what I've written into ChatGPT. I have nothing, I've written nothing beforehand, so there's no so ChatGPT has no previous context, and I'm just showing you what I've written and its results. So I've just chosen some random product, a perfect pair of jeans. So I've written there, give me 5 popular keywords, strings, and terms that someone looking for the perfect pair of jeans would type into a search engine. So this is great for things like writing blog posts. So for example, for SEO, for writing blog posts, or for determining keywords for your ads, if you wanted to target your audience in terms of ads. So I've written that in, and this is what it's come up with. Again, no context. So we've got there, best jeans brand, top rated jeans for body type, most comfortable jeans, right? So it's come up with these 5 terms, keyword terms that we can include either in our SEO blog articles or terms that we would like to target when we're building out our Google search ads or Google display ads. So again, no context. And look, if I'm being honest, these are the kinds of terms that I would look for. Most comfortable jeans, I would absolutely be searching that on Google if I was, you know, in the market for some new jeans. So once I've got these terms, I've then gone ahead and said, okay, write me 5 variations of headlines and descriptions that include these keywords. Now, I've also given some context about the jeans. Don't forget, ChatGPT knows nothing about the jeans, right? So I've got there some info about our jeans, and I've just made this up, right? Some info about our jeans. They're made from the finest denim that fits women of every shape and size and molds to your body for ultimate comfort. They are well priced and will last for at least 10 years. Again, I made this up. If anyone can find me the jeans that actually do this, please let me know. So no context. This is the only information that ChatGPT has about these jeans. Now, the headlines and descriptions, we're talking specifically about Google ads there. So, you know, when you're doing, say, a search ad, these are the headlines and descriptions that you might want to include. Now, ChatGPT has gone and written headlines and descriptions, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but if you have a quick read through, you can see that it has included the context that I've given there. So the information that I've given there. So see the headline number 3, invest in quality, our durable genes fit well and last for a decade. So those, that has most of the themes that I've written in there, right? It's got invest in quality, it's cost effective, it's well priced, durable genes that fit well. So I've said that it molds to your body for ultimate comfort and lasts for a decade. It will last for 10 years. So it takes the information that you give it and it churns out what you need. So don't forget, it's got loads of information about what Google headlines, Google descriptions should be, and it uses that information as well as the context that you give it to form the best suited headline or description. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's valuable to you. So again, you can use this for your business, your startup, your side hustle, whatever it might be, and just plug into into ChatGPT or Bard and say, I'm looking for keywords for this particular product. Tell me how best to write it. So let's keep going. Interpret performance data. Now, what I've done here is I've actually gone and video recorded my interactions with ChatGPT, and again, GPT-4, and I'm going through how to interpret performance data. I'll talk through what I've done as the video plays. Hopefully it plays okay. There's no words. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is I'm uploading a CSV file into ChatGPT. Now in the data, I've got Google Analytics data, which shows conversion information. Don't worry about what the information is. It's not really important, but I'm just trying to show you how it looks. Now I've written there, I've attached some data from Google Analytics. It's the conversion data. I'm interested in these things. ChatGPT goes ahead and says, okay, let me have a look at this data and I'll tell you what I can see. Now I've opened up the working files. Don't worry too much about that, but it shows you that it's scrolling through the information and it says, okay, in this data, I can see these two things. One, I can see first row seems to be a summary and the numbers are formatted as strings and commas and other non-numeric characters. Let me fix that. So then it goes through and it fixes the data so that it's more in tune with, so that it's more aligned to give us the results that it needs, right? So it's going through the data and it improves the, the styling or the format of the data. And then it says, okay, you want to know what channel is performing best. All right, so let's go through and have a look. So then it does all of its Python coding, which I have absolutely no idea what it's doing. But the reason I've opened it up is just to make sure that it's looking at the correct thing. So if you, when you do this for yourself, you can actually stop it generating and you can say, actually, no, that's not what I want. Do this instead. So then it's given me some insights: conversions by channel, ad costs by channel, total revenue by channel, ROAS by channel, recommendations even. So interpreting performance data is really important for marketers, right? Because without understanding the data and without understanding insights and what works, what doesn't work, I mean, what are we even doing? So marketing is all about understanding data at the end of the day. Well, it certainly is now. And you can actually download or export reports, say from your Google Analytics, from your AdWords account, and say, hey, this is our AdWords performance for the last 3 months. Please review the performance and let me know what we're doing well, what we're not doing well, and give me recommendations on what we can do to improve this. Now, I know that this is probably a lot to take in, and what I'm showing you is a lot right now, but I just wanted to show you that it is important for you to be able to put data into ChatGPT and sort of get those insights out. It's actually really simple to do. Now, there's a couple of things that I wanted to go through before we move on. So pro tips about using data. Use ChatGPT and stack reports. Now, what I mean by this, and this is just a term that I've used myself. So I've actually used ChatGPT to, what I've done is I've got multiple reports. So for example, if it is a ad campaign. Sorry, not an ad campaign, a website performance, website performance report. So I've gone in and said, okay, website performance, Google Analytics, and I've taken a report out that says, all right, these are the pages and events. So by page, so by screen or by URL, the performance of those pages, and I've uploaded it. And I said, okay, what's the performance of these pages? And then ChatGPT says, okay, based on this, the highest performing pages are this, this, this. Okay, great, thank you. Then I've gone and said, okay, what about the actual website performance? So we've looked at sessions, users, bounce rates, average time on site, that kind of stuff, like the real generic things. And then I've added that in and said, okay, based on the pages, look at this report as well and say, and tell me any insights that you can based on these two reports. And ChatGPT can actually look at two reports. Now, it's important for me to say that, again, ChatGPT isn't always accurate. And when I have done this in the past, it has given me incorrect information about one or two things. Most things are correct, but incorrect information about one or two things. And when I say incorrect information, it's calculated something wrong. So for example, if I say, hey, what's the cost per acquisition for this? It's given me an incorrect number because it's calculated something incorrectly. Please check your data, okay? So again, stack reports, put multiple reports in, and then ask it to say, based on all of these reports, what can you tell me? You'll have to practice doing that. You know, it's not as simple as I'm making it sound, but you will have to practice doing it, but it is possible. Secondly, I've just mentioned that always double check your data and outputs, very, very important. Thirdly, you can copy and paste CSV data. So as I've uploaded a CSV file into ChatGPT, that's actually only available for the paid version, the paid subscription. You can actually just copy and paste CSV data. So if you just select all or select, you know, the portion of data that you'd like to upload into ChatGPT, you can actually just copy and paste that directly into the text field and it will read it correctly. But again, always double check your data and the outputs that it comes or that it gives you. Lastly, never input sensitive data. The data that I used just prior in this exercise was demo data. So it was completely fictional data, but never input sensitive data. Now, the best way to get around that is by removing names, by removing addresses, by removing company names. If you must have them in your data for whatever reason, use factual names, use different, you know, change it up. If you have, you know, Google Analytics reports with campaign names and things like that, remove the campaign names and call them by number or something like that. Like just remove the actual names, any identifiers out of the report and change it for numbers. Like keep the number and campaign in another sheet so you know which one it's talking about. Never input sensitive data. Now, this is not a webinar on privacy or security, but it's really important. So ChatGPT, Bard, all these AI tools, especially the plugins, read the terms and conditions if you can. And if you are not so interested in terms and conditions, which a lot of us don't have time for, just don't input sensitive data. It's really important. So again, we don't know who owns this data. So once you input data into ChatGPT, who owns it? Like, you know, does ChatGPT, does OpenAI now own that data because you've uploaded? I'm not too sure. I can't answer that question. But again, never, just as a, you know, as a word of warning, as a best practice, just don't input sensitive data. That's my number one rule for AI. All right. Now, let's move on to researching and summarizing with Bard. Now, hopefully you have headed to bard.google.com and signed in with your Google account. I'm hoping that you have it open in another window, which would be really great because I want to run through a live hands-on activity with you. So for researching and summarizing, I'm not going to go through all of these in detail with an example, but you can use Bard to summarize and provide key points of news articles and white papers. So whether that means that you've got an article link and you just copy and paste that URL into Bard and say, hey, read this article and tell me the key features or key summary points of this article. Instead of having to read long articles, it can do that really well. So that's one really fast way to get a gist of what articles are saying. You can also research personas. So for example, you can say things like, so if you have a website, for example, go to my website and say, this is my website, this is the content that I have on my website. Tell me the key audiences that I should be marketing to, and tell me what their buyer behaviors are. So what that means exactly is that you can say, for example, obviously I'm a marketing consultant, and I could say, who are the people that would come to my site? And I've actually done this with Bard before, and it says things like, people that come to a marketing agency's website are people that are marketing managers or marketing specialists that need help with their marketing, usually small teams, things like that. What are their buyer behaviors? They're interested in implementing new software. They need to automate their platforms better, things like that. So you can ask Bard to get down into the nitty-gritty and tell you exactly why people would come to your site. Most of you probably know who your audiences are. I mean, we're all in marketing, so we know who we're trying to target. But again, those buyer behaviors are really important to be using in our key messaging, our ads, our taglines, and things like that. So hopefully you've got Bard open. Let's jump straight in. All right. I'm going to ask you to type this prompt into Bard. Now, I'm going to see if I can actually copy and paste it into the chat window so that you can just copy and paste it as well. So just bear with me. I'm going to quickly just jump out of this. See if I can copy that into here. There we go. Perfect. All right. So if you can copy and paste that prompt, don't hit enter. Don't hit enter. Copy and paste this prompt into Bard. So I've got there, find 3 compelling statistics or trends that reflect why consumers buy or use your product or service. So for example, in the jeans scenario, why consumers buy jeans, okay? Or if it's in, I don't know, if you're in e-commerce, it's much easier. Why do consumers buy computers, buy books, buy this? But if you're in a service, for example, Academy XI, why do people, oh, actually that's still buy. Why do people buy online courses, for example? That's another example that you can use. I would love you, if you're able to do this, if you're on Bard right now, to use this prompt and this activity for your business. Or if you're just interested in a topic, please use that topic. So the other considerations, that should also have been typed into the prompt. Other considerations, stats or trends to be no older than 3 years old when published. So for example, when we're writing a blog prompt into a blog, we don't want to reference stats that are old, right? You know, it can be no older than 1 year old. I say 3-year-old because, you know, we've got a wide range there. We can choose from newer ones or older ones, but generally speaking, we don't want to go too old. Other considerations are from reputable sources. I don't want stats that are from a website that gets no traffic. So reputable sources, make sure that they're reputable, as in they are reliable, they're trustworthy. Provide source links. Why do we want source links? We want source links so that we can fact check it, so that we can see it for ourselves, so that we can actually go to the source and double check that stat and make sure that the website is reputable, as well as provide that source link in your blog for, you know, when you're writing it out. Include why the stat or trend reflects buyer behavior. So why did it choose this stat? So why is this stat a reason for people buying jeans? Tell me why. Give me some more context. And then at the very end there, I want 3 ideas for blog topics, including each stat or trend. Has anyone done this? Has anyone started to put this into play? Anyone have any? I can't copy the text. Try copying it from the chat if you can. Thank you, Justin. Typing it manually. I will wait. I will wait a little while. Maddie, doesn't work. Does that mean you can't type, you can't copy the prompt in, or the actual... I don't think Zoom will let you copy the text. Probably. Thank you, Andrew. I wasn't aware. I was hoping that you could just copy paste. Thanks, Maddie. Thank you, Pri. I will wait a little bit. What I wanted to show you, and I'm going to just quickly jump out of my screen share. I actually copied and pasted this myself, firstly, just to make sure that it worked for you, which it did. But I want to show you what I got. Okay. I've got Bard here. Hopefully you can see my Bard opened. So I've written exactly what I've told you to write. So find 3 compelling statistics or trends that reflect why consumers use marketing agency. Use marketing agencies. So that's the exact thing that I was saying, you know, buy or use, and product or service. And I just did it for my business. Again, I've got the same considerations that I had in the prompt that I asked you to copy. So let's just look here. It's got 3 stats. Stat 1 from Clutch 2023. It's got the stat, it's got why it reflects buyer behavior, and it's got blog topic ideas. 61% of businesses outsource their marketing. Here's why. Great. How to choose the right marketing agency for your business. Okay. 70, and then another stat here from Nielsen. Perfect. Very reputable source. Why it reflects buyer behavior and blog topic ideas. 87% of businesses use marketing automation software. HubSpot, another great reputable source. It's got why it reflects buyer behavior and the blog topic ideas. So then what I would probably do is use these blog topic ideas and ask it to go even further into those blog ideas and write the blogs for me. There's so much that Bard and ChatGPT can do. It's unbelievable. So I know that might be, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to, you know, that we're going into right now, but hopefully you can see, if you're not using it already, that this is just the beginning, and it's super exciting. So hopefully you guys were able to do that activity with me. And if you weren't, you will get the slides at the end, and you will be able to hopefully do it offline. So let's just keep moving. Now, finally, we're going to go through writing the perfect prompt for blogs. Now, I've seen a lot of marketers try to write blogs using AI tools and fail miserably. Now, the one thing that I can tell you about writing prompts for blogs or getting the most out of AI tools is that you only get what you put in. So usually a blog might take somebody, it could take days to write, but generally speaking, we can say it takes about 4 hours to write a proper blog, not including the research, right? Researching takes another couple of hours, could even take days, but writing it itself takes at least half a day to a day. I mean, it could even take longer. The point I'm trying to make here is that it takes a long time. So what I'm saying is the time that it takes for ChatGPT or Bard to write a blog is minutes, right? Not even. Spend the time writing the prompt. That is my biggest suggestion. If you take away anything from today, it's to spend the time writing the prompt. Okay. All the context any context that you give AI tools is what it will use to write the best version that it can write for you. So don't go into ChatGPT or Bard and say, write me a blog on jeans, right? It'll write a very basic, very boring, very vanilla blog. But if you say, write me a blog about jeans, here's my website, here is a stat that I want to call on, here is my target market, and these are their buyer behaviors. This is what I want somebody to do when they read this blog. I want them to click on this link. I want them to call me. You must go through every single thing that you want the reader to do and tell the AI tool to reflect that in the blog. So the thing is, be diligent in your prompt writing. So in terms of blog writing, I mean, you can improve your own writing, right? So rewrite your own content and align it with persona challenges. So for example, if you like writing, which I do, for example, I write all my own blogs, and I get ChatGPT or Bard to improve it, or to, you know, write a headline for it or a tagline for it. A lot of the stuff is human generated, but AI enhanced. And that's what I call it, human generated, AI enhanced. Do not use AI tools to blindly write things, because that's not, I mean, I don't think that's how it should be used right now. I mean, we're not there yet, but I think it should definitely be used to enhance. So for example, write your own blogs, get it to improve it. Write your own blogs and get ChatGPT or Bard to add things to it. For example, these are the buyer motivators. How can I add these 3 points into my blog so that it talks to these people, for example? Create long form content with a specific tone of voice. Maybe you like how Apple talks. Maybe you like how you know, how Bunnings the Bunnings language on the website. So I'm really can't find any brands in my brain right now, but if there's a certain well-known brand that you like to read or that resonates with you, you can actually say to Bard or ChatGPT, write my blog in the same tone and language as Microsoft, for example, right? Write it in the same tone of voice as Coca-Cola, right? So I would usually pick a brand that is either, you know, a competitor of yours but much larger, or has the same audience as yours, so that you can align that tone and voice to your audience as well. The second point there, generate titles and short form copy. So once you have a long form blog, you can say, all right, from this long blog, give me a couple of headlines, give me some email subject lines, give me short form copy, and get all of that stuff out of this one blog. So in essence, you will have a blog piece that you can publish to your website. You'll then have a social media asset and a short description of the blog that you can use to promote that blog. You might even have some ad copy that you can use to promote the blog via ads. So basically you have a whole campaign in a matter of minutes. It's very exciting stuff. So let's go into the blog prompts. Step 1. Now, this is a list of things I've just included there, a list of dot points that you would like included in a blog post. Again, more is better. I've included the bare minimum. This, in my eyes, is bare minimum. How many words you want it to be, how many subheadings you want, who is reading the blog. That is very, very important. What do you want the readers to do after reading? That is also really important. What's the point of people reading a blog if they're not doing the thing that you want them to do? How do you want a reader to feel when they're reading the blog? What tone should it be written in? Again, bare minimum in terms of what you should be importing into a ChatGPT or a Bard or any other kind of AI tool when you're asking it to write your blog. So from there, once you've done that, you've included all of your points and you've said, okay, you know, this is the first draft of the blog or the final draft. Based on this blog, give me 3 options for email copy for sharing the post copy so that I can post it on Facebook and LinkedIn, as well as 3 alternative blog titles that you might want to use for A/B testing to test which blog heading is the best. Now, when you're writing these blogs, you need to make sure that you're getting what you want out of the tool. So for example, a couple of weeks ago, I actually ran a workshop and people did this exact exercise. And one of the things that one of the ladies said was, oh, I've just done this, but Bard has come back with really weird information that has nothing to do with my product or service. And so I said, okay, well, that's okay. Tell it that it's incorrect. So use the tool as it is like a person, even though we know it's not, but like you're having a conversation. So she went back and she said, actually, my XYZ website has nothing to do with that. It is this, regenerate or rewrite this blog with this in mind. And then it went ahead and it redid it. Now, the first output or the first thing that you get back from Bard or ChatGPT is not the thing that is not always going to be the thing that you want, for example. So go back and say, no, that's not what I want, or no, that's too funny, or that's too friendly, or that doesn't have a CTA that I want, or no, I don't like that word. So you can, converse, go back and forth until you get the right thing. Remember what I said before, spend time writing the prompts, spend time going back and forth and perfecting it. Remember, you could usually spend half a day writing a proper blog yourself. Spend the time, whether it's, it might only take you an hour to go back and forth and get the perfect blog. Spend the time to do the work. I hope that helps. I do have a prompt guide download. So if you just scan that code, you can actually just download that for free. It goes through a couple more points that you can use in your blogs that you can just copy and paste from the PDF that you download and just plug it into either ChatGPT or Bard. It gives things like objectives, calls to actions, writing style, tone, and things like that. So feel free to download that from my website as well. But you will also get this deck if you're unable to grab that now, but I'll send out this deck so that you can download it too. So we're wrapping up now, and my pro tips to introduce AI into your marketing strategy. Writing tools. So we went through this at the very beginning, the differences between ChatGPT and Bard. Writing tools, use ChatGPT for writing, creative writing, long form writing, short form writing. ChatGPT, I would use for writing. Bard, use it for research so that you can get up-to-date trends. You can search the net. You can find statistics. You can search your website, things like that. Of course, ChatGPT does have plugins as well that can read links and URLs. But if you want to search the internet as a whole, I would start using Bard. Again, the tip that I said in the beginning in terms of blog writing, I would use Bard to write the first draft, and then I would go and copy and paste that into ChatGPT and improve the writing. As a user of both ChatGPT and Bard, I can tell you again, I think I said this in the beginning, that ChatGPT in terms of writing is far superior. So, and when I say superior, it just writes better. It's far more intellectual. It's more cohesive. It's clearer. It's just much better. Bard writes very basic, very simple, which is okay for if that's what you need for your audience, for your product or service, then go ahead and use Bard. What I would suggest you do is test both, and whichever one works best for you, that's the one that you should use. Second point there, start small and then scale up in that area. Now, if you are an avid follower of AI things on the internet and LinkedIn, there's so much stuff, right? There's so many tools that you can use. Oh, the best tools to use for slides, for presentations, for writing, for creating images. There's so much stuff. And I tell you what, I've been using AI for a little while and I have no idea what most of the tools are. So, and the reason I don't know is because it's overwhelming. It's just overwhelming and almost too hard basket, right? So when something gets too hard, you're just like, oh, I'm just going to put it to the side. So what I focused on is just the very basics of marketing, SEO stuff, content writing, improving things. I want to know about performance data, which is really important. I'm a data enthusiast, and so I can understand data, read data, and understand how it aligns with marketing. But ChatGPT can do it so much faster. I did a presentation a couple of weeks ago, and I said, yes, you can probably do all of this stuff yourself. Yes, you can probably write the perfect blog, but these tools can write it so much faster. Now, it's not necessarily about ChatGPT or AI tools taking over your job. I think that it's about, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that it's more about AI tools making you more efficient, making you more productive, making you, giving you the ability or enabling you to do the things that you keep putting off because you're too busy doing all the other stuff. So when you start to introduce AI tools into your day-to-day, when you start to reduce that time it takes to create blogs, to create ad campaigns, to analyze data, then all of a sudden you have more hours in your week to do X, Y, Z, to do the thing that the strategic thinking, the stuff that you were meant to do. Like, it's so exciting. I could talk about it forever. But anyway, start small. Start with content, for example. Content is probably the easiest thing to start with, whether it's blog writing or ad creation or SEO, finding SEO search terms for blogs. Start small and then do that small thing really well and just stay there until you get that part done and dusted and it's kind of ingrained into your marketing strategy, and then go into something else. Start small. Finally, measure your results. Utilize A/B testing methods. If you're still unsure about AI tools, and I'm not here to tell you that AI tool is better than human, not at all. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying that it's efficient. Write a human-based blog, human-generated blog, and write an AI-generated blog, and then A/B test them, see which one performs better. And it's not about saying, oh, AI, human generated will always perform better and we just won't use AI tools. Maybe that's the case in your audience or in your market. So don't use AI tool for that. Use it for something else. Just see or find ways that you can make AI work for you and make it more efficient. So those are my tips. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me and joining us on Academy XI today. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, you'll get this at the end, and I'll see if there's any questions that we can answer, and I'll throw back to the guys in the studio.
Perfect. Well, I can actually see a question that's just popped up in the Q&A, Leola, if you can see that one as well.
Considering the intelligence, do you believe it is sufficient to use? Still use certain platforms or websites for keywords, SEO research. So particularly for keyword research, if we're talking specifically about keywords, I wouldn't use ChatGPT. And the reason for that is because it stops at 2021. Now, in terms of keyword research, we want to see what the most up-to-date thing is. And so I would definitely use Bard, absolutely, because Bard has access to real-time internet. Not only that, Bard is a Google product, which is plugged into Google AdWords, Google Analytics, Google Keyword Planner, all of those kinds of various SEO tools. Now, what I would do is I would actually, there's a number of ways that you could do it. Now, none of these ways is the right way or the best practice, but you have to test different things. So, for example, if you would normally go to, say, Keyword Planner and have a look at, ask Keyword Planner to research some keywords for you, some different keywords based on this website, or you want to plug in a keyword term and then get a whole bunch of other ones out. Go to Keyword Planner first, maybe. Have a look at what you get in there and do the same thing in Bard and see if it's any different. I would absolutely test things out. And again, to my point before, if you're going to use, AI tools to save you time, spend the time to test different theories, test different ways of working, test, what works best for you, what works best for your product or service or your audience. And so I hope that that answers your question. You would think Ahrefs. Sorry, I'm just reading these. Tools are still spirit, also. Yes, absolutely, Joy. You would think. Again, just to that point, Bard would actually search things like Ahrefs and Moz as well. So it might also get the same information. But again, like I said before, test different theories, test different things, make sure you just get the right keywords for you. How can you use AI to write video scripts? Great question, Liddy. I have actually used, I think it was ChatGPT to write me a video script. So literally ask it. I know that seems really simple, but if you go and say, I want to create a video, and again, it's about the prompt, write the prompt. Who's the video for? What do you want the video to do? How many how many scenes do you want? Write the prompt properly, write it really as detailed as possible, and then just ask it to write you a video script. Ask it to write tell it what you want it out of it. Say, I want a video script for 2 people named this and this. I want 4 different screens or 4 different scenes with 7 different scenarios in each. Be really, really detailed in the prompt. So I hope that helps.
Perfect. And we just have a couple other questions. We've got 2 other questions, I think, sitting in the chat. And then we can, keep going.
What have we got there? Thank you. Okay. You have mentioned that the slides you have used will be available. Will the recording? That's a Sam question.
It is a Sam question. And yes, the recording will be available after it'll be in an email following the webinar. So we'll be planning to get that one out by Friday this week. And then I can see just one more question in there as well.
Ethics.
What are the ethical issues of using these tools?
Okay, so Nalan, thank you so much for this question. I've actually written a blog about ethics and about plagiarism and things like that. So I can't go into it too much, but I will say that if we talk about ethics, if somebody goes to Google, for example, which has been around for decades, if someone goes to Google and says, find me this, or asks a question, and then Google spits out the answer, and then someone goes and finds out articles and copies and pastes it into a blog or into an essay or an article, that's plagiarism, right? We know that as plagiarism. It's the same thing with AI tools. If you do that with AI tools, and if you say to AI tools, hey, give me this, show me this article. However, there are ways around it. So what I do is I say, write this blog, or if you're going to write a blog, write it in original language, write it in unique language that isn't copied from anywhere. Again, it's all in the prompt. Another way to get around ethics or plagiarism is if you're writing a blog, write it in your own words and ask it to rewrite it. That is your own words. It's just regenerating your own words so that you're not plagiarizing anything in any way. There are so many different sort of angles in terms of ethics, but if you're asking about a specific thing, feel free to, contact me directly and we can talk about it. But, a rule of thumb, don't blindly copy anything. If you're back and forth with an AI tool, then you will be getting, unique information out of it. I hope that helps in some way.
Perfect. Thank you for going through all those questions. So on behalf of everyone online and everyone at Academy XI, thank you so much for taking the time to come and speak with us today, Leola. I think I particularly love the comparison between Bard and ChatGPT. I think, like a lot of people, there's a huge amount of it's just very difficult to understand the differences, and I think that was fantastic the way you explained that. Your metaphor of a filing cabinet, I think somebody mentioned in the chat that they love that. I think that's a fantastic example as well. So now, before we finish up today, we'll be joined by Sarah from Academy XI, who will talk through some exciting new advances that Academy XI are taking in AI. For anybody that would like some more information from Sarah, I'm going to include her contact details into the chat. And you can also follow up via email and everything like that. So we'll make sure that obviously the recording will be sent out, the slides, and if there's any other questions that anybody would like answered, please feel free to respond to those. I think it's it's hugely valuable to share as much information as we can around AI. So again, finally, thank you so much, Leola, for taking the time to come and speak to us today. And I'll pass across to Sarah.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm the business development representative here at Academy XI. As Sam mentioned, I'm excited to announce we've recently launched our AI portfolio. If today's session further sparked your interest in the world of AI, please do reach out. Again, the information should be in the chat there. I'd be delighted to go through our solutions, including our AI Fundamentals workshop, which is designed for teams and organizations who are looking to develop a foundational understanding in an interactive way and learn how AI can be applied ethically and safely. The workshop can also develop AI champions in respective departments who can then cross-collaborate with developers to streamline workflows. Again, be sure to watch this space for any upcoming events. Another important note, everyone who attended the webinar today will have access to an exclusive discount for our AI toolkit. So if you want to avail of that discount or learn more, you can reach out to me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. And we can go from there. Thanks so much, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. As I said, all of Sarah's information will be included in the email following this webinar. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks again, Leola.
See you.